So this is a short video showing you how to set up a drum rack with Ableton. So with the drum rack, you can get it from like one of two places, but the first is in drums at the top there, or instruments. So if you get the drum rack, drag it into a MIDI track, and then any tracks you're not using, just delete them. Within the drum rack, what you essentially have is like, I think it's 128 different pads. Within those pads, you can load in samples. When you load in a sample, so I've got this Vengeance Essential Club Sounds 4, which is on the Google Drive in the classroom. So you can start with, say, like bass drum. Start like a clubby, maybe not clubby, sub kick. Drag a sound in there, and you can see that it creates a simpler. What you can also do is you could put in any instruments. You could like load in like an analog or an operator, and then create your own sounds with that. But if you're just loading in samples, it creates a simpler, as you can see there. So what we're going to do is just build up a drum rack, create essentially a drum kit, and then add effects to it, which you can just be used as send effects. So once you've got like your kick drum in there, the next thing to do would be to get like a clap. And then the cymbals, get a closed hi-hat. And an open hi-hat. That's 909. You can add other percussion sounds in there. Ride as well. A few of the little percussion. Once you've got your drums in there, you can spend like as long as you want just building up a load of drums that you're happy with, and you can also change the drums at a future date and then update your drum kit. So I'm just going to rename the drum kit. So to rename, just click on the main name of it, press Command if it's a Mac or Control if it's PC, and R at the same time for rename. I'm just going to call that Mike's kit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. If you press R down here, that's the return tracks. Essentially they work the same as these return tracks. So once you set them up, you can assign where you can route any of your sounds to the return effect. So I'm going to go for an audio effects, and like a short reverb, room reverb, drum zoom. That's my drum reverb, because I clicked on it, and I'll just add like an echo or something similar. Ping pong wide, try that. Again, these can be like whenever you choose, whenever you're setting up an effect as a return effect or a send effect, as they're sometimes called, just make sure that the effect is set to fully wet, which means that when the signal comes back. So the signal will be sent from one of your sounds. When it comes back, it will just be the affected signal rather than a copy of the original signal plus the affected signal. Because what that can do is it can create a it can like boost the volume too loud, and it can cause like cancellations at certain frequencies. So once you've got everything set up, you can then create your drum track. So to create a sequence, like I've said previously, press highlight an area, so like 1 bar, press Command Shift and M on a Mac, or Control Shift M on PC. Command Shift M, change this to 116, and then you could create, say if you wanted to create like a house beat would look like this, kick on every beat, and then a clap on the second beat and the fourth beat, open hi-hat on the off beat. And you just click on there, Control L or Command L on PC to loop the area and turn the loop on. You can change the BPM, make it a bit faster, so it'll be like a 124 BPM track. Zoom in a little bit. Make this a bit bigger because that's all you're working on. And then you can add like other percussion in there. When you're using a drum rack, the length of the sound doesn't matter at all, so you can shorten that, and it just still plays the full sample. You can make it dead long. It's still the same length, so it doesn't matter about that. So you don't have to worry about like the length of your drums. The reason for that is because like if you were to hit a drum, there's no way of shortening like the decay of the drum, like when you hit it, other than like holding on to it. And if you ever see like a drummer, like they'll literally just play each drum. They won't sort of like hit the snare drum and then stop the snare drum. And it does happen, like it's like a rarity. If you wanted to do that, you'd have to sort of like, there's a few ways of doing it. One way is by just using a simpler on a separate track and then shortening the drum, or copying, like duplicating. So if you wanted to do it with that clap, you can duplicate that to another pad. So I'm just dragging that up there. My finger on Alt on a Mac, or Control on a PC, just to copy it. And then with this one, double click on it and then just shorten those controls. So it just goes to classic, and then you can just change that to the K. Just bring the sustain down, bring the release down. You can shorten it there. Final thing is like once you've got sort of like your rhythm, your drum pattern in there, you can then add like effects to it or send effects. So if you go back to this page, you can press tab to get to that, or you can just up here, you can change that between the two pages, between arrange, which is this page, and the session page, which is this page. if you press this like little down triangle or down arrow, you can see there the sends for each of the drum hits. So you've got the kick drum there. So say if you wanted to add a bit of reverb to the hi-hat. The sort of general rule is like if you can just about hear the reverb, get it to that point and then just bring it back a little bit, because it's more of a sort of atmosphere rather than sort of like something that stands out. Do the same for the clap. With this, I'm going to try the echo. So as well as sort of send effects, what you could also do is you could add insert effects. So you could say if like this kick drum wasn't loud enough, you could use the lead compressor and just add that. Within the drum rack, like all the individual settings for each of the drums, it's just within the simpler. So you know how to use a simpler. You know how to use the individual drums like within the drum rack. So you got things like filter, there's distortion there, which you can add. And you can just build it up like that. Once you finish the kit, just sort of like minimise it so it's just straightforward. And then in your user library, you can just drag that in. You could create a new folder called drum kits, and within that you can just drag your new drum kit in there, press enter, it'll save everything into it.